I killed a basil plant in 11 days. This is the embarrassing part. The tag literally said, thrives on neglect, and I watered it every morning because it looked sad in the afternoons, and by day 12 I was Googling, can you overwater a plant that says it likes drought? The answer, it turns out, is yes, spectacularly yes. I have a screenshot from my plant app that morning where the soil moisture reading was so high it had stopped giving a number and just said saturated. Classic overwatering symptoms, yellowing leaves, a mushy stem, and what horticulturalists politely call root rot. All of it in under 2 weeks. So I am the person this video is for. If you have killed every basil and herb you have touched, snake plants might be your answer, and I will get there in a second. If you have ever walked out of a Home Depot holding a small terracotta pot and a vague sense of optimism, and walked back in 3 weeks later pretending you were never there, same. This is a list of 5 drought-tolerant, low-maintenance plants that, in my entirely unscientific experience and the slightly more scientific experience of every botanist I have ever annoyed for an explanation, are genuinely difficult to kill on a rented balcony. These are the plants that work for apartment gardening specifically: unpredictable sun, occasional ferocious wind, a person with a job who sometimes forgets things. Difficult to kill, not impossible. The basil proved that. First up is the snake plant, Sansevieria trifasciata, if you want to feel smart at dinner. NASA included it in their 1989 clean air study. Dr. B.C. Wolverton's research at the John C. Stennis Space Center ran specifically to determine which plants could help keep astronauts alive in a sealed metal tube. The snake plant made the cut, partly because it actively removes formaldehyde, benzene, and other airborne volatile organic compounds from indoor air, which is why it keeps showing up on every best bedroom plants list, and why it can legitimately improve your indoor air quality. The other thing worth knowing is that snake plants use KM photosynthesis, which means, unlike most plants, they release oxygen at night rather than during the day. If you have ever heard someone say, put a snake plant in your bedroom, that is the actual science behind it. Yours can survive your studio apartment. The thing about snake plants is they prefer to be ignored. Water once every 2 to 3 weeks in summer, once a month in winter. They handle low light conditions better than almost any other plant on this list, which matters if your apartment gets indirect light or a north-facing window. They will tell you they need a drink by going slightly soft at the leaf base, which is a polite, almost British level of complaint. If you forget about a snake plant for an entire month, it will not only survive, it will look smug. Second, geraniums, specifically pelargoniums, which is what most people mean when they say geraniums, and what every Greek grandmother has been growing in olive oil tins on a balcony in Astoria for 4 generations. They love full sun. They handle wind. They bloom from spring straight through fall. I know a woman in Queens who has a single pelargonium in a cracked terracotta pot, not a plastic pot. Terracotta matters because it breathes and dries out faster, and pelargoniums prefer that. She has not repotted it since 2014. It blooms every year. She has never fertilized it. It is at this point a kind of pet. Pelargoniums forgive almost everything except wet feet. The enemy here is drainage. If you have a saucer under the pot that holds standing water, you are manufacturing root rot. Throw the saucer out. Third is rosemary. Rosemary is what happens when a Mediterranean shrub looks at your 30 square foot balcony and says this is fine. It wants sun, terrible soil, and to be left alone. The Missouri Botanical Garden lists it as drought tolerant once established. In plain plant terms, once it has been alive for 6 months, you can essentially go on vacation and forget it exists. It handles USDA zones 6 through 10 outdoors without much complaint, and that covers most of the continental United States. Bonus, you can eat it. Pull a sprig off when you are roasting potatoes. The plant does not care. It has more sprigs. Quick thing, if you are watching this with a row of sad pots on your balcony, the basil that yellowed, the herbs from the grocery store that lasted 9 days, the tomato seedling somebody gave you that you put on the windowsill just for now 6 weeks ago. None of that means you cannot grow plants. It means you bought plants that wanted a different life than the one your balcony offers. The plants on this list are not better or stronger. They are just suited to the conditions you actually have, which are probably some combination of unpredictable sun, occasional ferocious wind, and a person with a job who sometimes forgets things. That is the entire trick. Fourth, Portulaca, also known as moss rose. This one is almost insulting in how determined it is to live. It is a succulent that flowers, which sounds made up, and the flowers are bright magenta and yellow and orange in a way that looks slightly tacky in a photograph, but absolutely correct in person. Portulaca thrives in the conditions other plants describe to their therapist: full hot sun, sandy soil, and no consistent watering. The University of Florida IFAS Horticulture Extension lists it among the most heat-tolerant flowering annuals in their published trial gardens. It is genuinely one of the benchmarks for what they call high heat performance in container plantings. On a hot, west-facing balcony where everything else has crisped and gone papery, Portulaca is opening new flowers. It also propagates easily from cuttings, which means one $6 pot can become 3 pots by the end of the season if you feel like experimenting. Last one is the jade plant, Crassula ovata, originally from the Eastern Cape of South Africa, which explains everything about its preferences: dry, bright, and basically indifferent to whether you are paying attention. The plant your aunt has on her windowsill that she has had for 22 years and is now the size of a small dog. Jades are rated for USDA zones 10 through 12 outdoors, yet they thrive as container plants in essentially any climate because you bring them in when it gets cold. They store water in their leaves, which means if you forget to water for 6 weeks, the plant simply uses its own reserves and waits politely for you to remember it exists. They handle balcony life, rain, sun, the occasional cold snap without complaint. They also propagate from a single fallen leaf, which is one of the easiest propagation methods in container gardening and is how my aunt's Jade has slowly colonized the windowsills of every relative within a 20-mile radius. The basil, by the way, is gone. I did not replace it. I put a jade cutting in the same pot, a small one from my aunt, and it has now been on my balcony for 14 months. I have watered it, I think, 4 times. It has not asked for anything else. It just sits there, slightly glossy, getting bigger in a way I cannot detect day to day, but is undeniable when I look at the photo from when I first put it on the railing. There was no tag. It was a leaf in a takeout container.